If I learned anything this year, it's that romanticizing your life requires removing as much friction as is realistically possible. So, as I consider what my 2026 goals, resolutions, and intentions are going to be, I'm of course looking at what my 2025 ones were, and in terms of like what worked and what didn't. And when I look at what worked, overwhelmingly, those were all supported by systems rather than just my willpower. Two of them being dating and finances. And so, in keeping with that theme, the most romantic and kind thing I did for myself this past year was outsource. I let my bestie run my Hinge, and I let Monarch run my budget. On the finance side of things, when I was subletting in New York this past summer, came back home to DC, and then had to start preparing for my trip to Australia and Japan, both of which were a long time in the making, okay? Like, we saved for this. I knew that I didn't have to stress because Monarch had my back. There was no need to white knuckle every single purchase I was making in New York this summer because I knew I was on track with my goals to ensure that my trip this past November to Australia and Japan would work out without an issue. So just like with having my bestie become my dating manager on Hinge, I did the same with my finances. No longer was I micromanaging every single conversation I had with my wallet. I checked how I was tracking once a week, if that, and that was it. Because I knew I'd get an alert from Monarch if anything needed to be flagged. And because I knew that each one of my categories was being properly budgeted for. So even as life got busy, I knew that everything was right on track. I could relax. With all of that said, I'm so happy to get to say that we at TFD have our own special code with Monarch that allows our audience to receive 50% off their first year. So go ahead, comment Monarch below, and we'll send you our special link so that you can start relying on systems rather than everyday motivation and willpower. Just relax. 2026 is gonna be a good one. With all that said, let me know if you want to hear about the dating manager side of things, because that was kind of fun. And long story short, resulted in 14 first dates in just 2 weeks. So lots of stories to be told.